Hi everybody, Intern here. And one thing about me that you guys probably don't know is that I enjoy ranking videos. Whether it's in the sports community, whether it's in the gaming community, I love when people rank things. I find ranking videos to be very entertaining. So for today's Unscripted, I've decided to dip my toe into the proverbial ranking videos pool. So for today's episode of Unscripted, I will be ranking all 8 of Daniel Ricciardo's Formula 1 triumphs. And the reason I'm going with Daniel Ricciardo is because he only has 8, and these videos can take a while. Let me tell you that. They can take quite a while. So I don't want this to blow over or anything. So I think Ricciardo's the perfect person. 8 nice little victories. And yeah, we're gonna rank them. So let's begin. Number 8, I have Belgium 2014. This is probably his most Mickey. And I'll say, before we even continue, I'm gonna say this. The more and more we go on with this list, is the more you're gonna realize that there are a couple Mickey Mouse victories that Ricciardo has. But I give him a pass because by right, in all 8 of these victories, I think he only had the fastest car once. So by right, the only chance of him really winning some of these were, helped by luck. Stuff happens, But yeah, 2014 Belgium is 8. It's probably the least he's ever done to win a race. He qualified 5th, he passed a Williams, Seb was in front of him, he went wide, he got past Seb, then the two Mercs killed each other, and he just led from there to the end, I believe. I don't think he had to really fight at all. It's kind of just, one of them instances where the seas just parted. So I'm gonna just say, yeah, Belgium 2014, that one's number 8, right? Let's move on. Number 7 is Canada 2014. Alright, now this is better than Belgium because he started deeper in the field and he just did way more. He did way more. Obviously this is another race where both of the Mercs, had issues. One didn't finish, the other one was just slow as hell. But Ricciardo, offensively rather, was way better in this race than Belgium. He even overcut Seb. He literally overcut Seb, and that overcut pretty much gave him the win when you look back at it, because pretty sure Vettel came either... Where did Vettel finished P2. So that overcut won him the race. So he drove himself into a position where he would be able to profit from the Mercedes having bad luck. So he definitely did way more in Canada than Belgium. So it's Belgium 8, it's Canada 7th. Now this one's probably gonna be a bit shocking, but 6 is Baku 2017. It's like, oh, Intern, no, that race was yeah, the race was good. But as I said earlier, if we're talking about Mickey Mouse victories that you luck into, this is not even to discredit Ricciardo, but if you talk about Mickey Mouse victories that somebody has to luck into, there's so many. Like literally everyone that could have beaten Ricciardo this day either crashed out, had some bad luck, just some crazy foolishness happened to them. It was mad. Verstappen was ahead of Ricciardo and his car died. Raikkonen and Bottas came together on lap 1. The two Force Indias killed each other. Vettel turned into Lewis for no reason and cost himself an easy victory. And Hamilton had the headrest issue. Ricciardo himself still drove well that day. Even Massa. No, actually, Massa was behind him. So I'm pretty sure Massa was behind him when his car died too. But he's another guy that could have probably done something later in the race. But like, bro, so many people in front of Ricciardo had issues. It's like he still drove well. But nah, man, no. This one ranks very low of the 8. This is in the bottom half for me, because I still feel like so many things had to happen for him to win that race, man. Both Ferraris, both Force Indias, both Mercedes, and Max Verstappen. Like, come on, bro. So I'm gonna put Baku 2017 P6. Yes. We move. Number 5, I have Monza 2021. Now with Monza, it's kind of another lucky one-ish, but nowhere near as lucky as the other 3 rather. I feel like the McLaren was the second fastest car in Italy that weekend. I feel like that's just me though. It could be third. It's either second or third, but it was easily one of the better cars that weekend. Ricciardo got out qualified by Norris. Then Hamilton had a bad start in the sprint. Ricciardo got past Hamilton, Norris did not. Bottas won the sprint, but then he got relegated to the back because he had an engine penalty, so it gave Verstappen the lead. The pole, rather. Ricciardo beats him off the line, takes the lead, never looks back. So it was a very mature drive from him, which is something that you don't normally see Ricciardo dominating a race. You know what I mean? You don't normally see him like just lead from the beginning and just go on to just dominate a race the way he did. And he did. But when you take into consideration the fact that Max and Lewis took each other out and that they could have probably been a threat, I don't even know if they would have caught him, you know. I don't know if they would have caught him. But them crashing out, I genuinely like sit back and I'm like, if both of them were still in the race, would they have caught Ricciardo at any point, or would Ricciardo have just beaten them? Not sure. I don't think Verstappen was ever gonna get Ricciardo, especially not after the slow stop. Hamilton probably could have. He had the pace to pass Norris, and I think he would have had the pace to pass Verstappen too if the crash didn't happen. So would he have caught Ricciardo? Who knows? We don't know. But it was a mature drive from him. Something you don't normally see from him, leading a race from start to finish. Granted, he didn't lead every lap, but you know, he led most of them. So yeah, Monza's pretty low, but still a very good win. I would never, you know, berate it at all. Okay, next I have Malaysia 2016. Now, again, in 2016, the only chance you'd have at winning a race if you weren't a Merc is if something happened to both Mercs. That's how Verstappen won Spain, and that's how Ricciardo won Malaysia. Hamilton had the engine failure at the end, and Rosberg and Vettel got taken out. Well, Vettel took Rosberg out, and Rosberg had to climb back from the back. So it was pretty much Hamilton leading, both Red Bulls behind him, and you're just there trying to figure out, you know, which of the two Red Bulls was going to finish ahead of the other. Because when you look at it, near the end, like right before Hamilton's engine went pop, Max and Daniel Ricciardo were having a battle for P2. They were both tussling it out. They're both having a very good battle. It's kind of like half a lap long, but it was very fun to watch. And if Ricciardo doesn't win that battle, then Verstappen leads when Hamilton's engine dies, and Verstappen wins the race and not Ricciardo. So in a sense, Ricciardo did fight for the win. He just didn't know it was for the win in the moment. So because of that battle, I'm ranking it higher than Monza, because I feel like he did more in this race than in Monza. Maybe not that much more, but still more nonetheless. So Malaysia 2016, that's number 4. We move. Number 3 is Monaco 2018. I think this is probably one of 2 weekends in Ricciardo's entire career. This is probably one of 2 or 3 weekends in Ricciardo's entire career that he had like the fastest car in a race weekend. I feel as though maybe Monaco 2016 was one. I think maybe Mexico 2018 was the other, because that was a Red Bull one too. So in theory, I guess they were the fastest car. But Monaco 2018, again, it's just like Monza. It's one of them races where, you know, you're not used to seeing Ricciardo lead from start to finish, but this was Monaco. So once you're on pole, that's kind of what's expected of you. And that's what he did. He took pole in convincing fashion, just like he did in 2016. And he is righted the right word? He corrected the wrongs. He avenged himself. That's what we're going to say. He avenged himself of the 2016 mess up, and he won the race even with engine issues, which is kind of cool to me. Granted, it's Monaco. It's not hard to keep people behind with engine issues, but you still have to manage the car in order to make sure that you don't, you know, make it worse by pushing too hard, I guess. So it's still good car management. Still drove well enough to put himself on pole and give himself the whole shot to win that race. And that's what he did. I thought it was a very good drive from him. And I'm going to put Monaco 2018 third on the list. Number 2 is China 2018. China is weird because, how do I put, like, he started, I think 6th. Did he qualify 6th? Something like that. He qualified 6th. And he was in 6th for majority of the race. Verstappen was ahead of him for majority of the race. Then safety car happens because I think Hartley and Gasly took each other out, caused a safety car. Both of the Red Bulls pit for softs. I think everyone else, like both Mercs and the Ferraris, stayed out on their older, harder compounds. And the two Red Bulls just went on a tear. They were just tearing through those four guys. And it's funny because China 2018 is a Max Verstappen bottle. He was supposed to be the guy that won that race because he was ahead of Ricciardo. He passed Raikkonen and then something happened. What was it? Did he pass Raikkonen and mess up the overtake on? But all I know is that Verstappen was ahead of Ricciardo in that last stint and he went wide. He went wide, so Ricciardo got by him. Then Ricciardo passed Hamilton, he passed Vettel, and he passed Bottas, and he got the win done. From 6th on the restart. And yeah, man. Yeah, he probably wasn't that good at the beginning of the race. Sure, he didn't have the pace, but once he had that advantage and had to go out there and kind of grab the win, he did it. And that's why I have China this high. I think it was just a very good drive from him. All the overtakes were on point. He never once put the car in any harm's way. Never made a mistake in that last stint, even though he was on faster, fresher tires. It was an overtaking masterclass. Even if he had the pace advantage, it was just a very, very good drive. And I put it above Monaco. So that's number 2. And number 1 has to be Hungary 2014. I feel as though this is easily his best win in Formula 1. It's his second win too, which is funny. 2014, obviously, the almighty Mercs. Hamilton had to start in the back. Pretty sure Rosberg started up front with all the other people. And yeah, man, he played a big role in the strategy that day. You know, he was up there with Red Bull making the calls as it regarded what to do. He pit more than his rivals, which means he had to drive harder to get them at the end. And he did just that, man. He did a great overtake on Hamilton with like 3 laps to go. And he did a great dive bomb on Alonso to take the lead with like 2 laps to go, and he went on to win that race. I think that's the hardest Ricciardo has ever worked for a victory. I don't think he lucked into anything in this race. I think this is one of them race wins that he kind of just took for himself. No one in front of him DNF, none of that foolishness. Like, he fully just reached his arms out and took that win. And that's why I have it number 1, Hungary 2014. And it's even more impressive considering it was his first year in Red Bull. You saw the mistake that Seb made. Seb lost it. He spun on the front stretch. So many people were making errors that day. Perez made mistakes. Ericsson, Grosjean. Even Hamilton spun on the first lap, I think. Like, a lot of people were making errors that day, but Ricciardo didn't. And he kept his head. And he won that race. He took it all for himself. Well deserved. Easily his most deserved victory in Formula 1. So yeah, Hungary 2014 is his magnum opus. That's number 1, and that's the end of this video. Do you agree with what I've said? If you agree with what I've said, please put down in the comments below your list. You're free to disagree. I wanted to make this video to kind of start discussion. I'm gonna do more of these ranking videos in the future. Maybe it could be wins, maybe it could be polls, maybe it could be seasons. I don't know yet, but I want to do more of these in the future. So if you've heard my voice, if you've listened this long and you disagree with my list, put your own list in the comment section down below and let's have a little discourse. Let's have a little chitter chatter. I don't expect my list to be perfect. Obviously, I rank these through my own criteria. You probably rank them through yours, but that's where we're at right now. So thank you for watching. Intern out. Goodbye.